In this video, I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of all the different dashboards inside of your Nozzle workspace. When you first log in, you're going to see this projects dashboard. If you're an in-house SEO team and you're only working on one project, which is your own company, then you're only going to see one project here. If you're an agency, you're going to want to add a project for every one of your clients, like in this case. Either way, when you want to view the data, you click on View Dashboards or the name of the project, and it will take us over to the dashboards, the overview dashboard. The first thing I want to explain, and what's very important, is this roll-up drop-down menu in the top left here. By default, we're on the brand type roll-up, and over here the type is owned. So we've created two brands that are owned, so Nozzle and Nozzle YouTube. So if you go over into the settings and click on brands, you can see we've loaded in 15 brands, and here are the two owned brands right here, Nozzle and Nozzle YouTube. Inside of the Nozzle brand, we're tracking our website. Every single one of your brands, you're going to have a website because that's typically what people are used to tracking, is their own website. In addition, we're tracking our Twitter profile and tweets, because all tweets contain this in the beginning of the tweet. Facebook page, and I do have our YouTube videos in here as well in the Nozzle brand. And if we go back, you'll see the Nozzle YouTube is just a list of our YouTube videos. I'll explain later why I did create a separate one for just the YouTube videos. And then we loaded in competitors. So as you can see, there's 15 brands loaded in here. So when we go back to the dashboards, brand type owned, so we are looking at Nozzle and Nozzle YouTube by default. And down here we see top URL. This is the top ranking URL. So whatever URL ranks the highest is going to be listed here first. And since we're looking at both owned brands, if a YouTube video did rank higher than a Nozzle URL, or if our Twitter profile ranked higher than a Nozzle URL, then you would see whatever entity ranks the highest in this dashboard here. And that's the main reason why I separate out the YouTube as its own brand, is because if I go into brand and I choose Nozzle YouTube, now I can see where, the highest ranking YouTube video of ours is ranking. Whereas for, Nozzle Rank Tracker, Nozzle.io ranks number 1, and we have a YouTube video number 2. And so when I am looking at the Nozzle brand that contains all of our entities together, then I see the top URL. But if I want to just analyze how our YouTube videos are doing and which keywords our YouTube videos rank for in Google, then I look at the Nozzle YouTube brand. Furthermore, I can choose any of these competitors in this list. These are our SERP competitors that we want to monitor the most. And so, I can see now Backlinko ranks, where they rank for these different phrases. And I can choose any of these from the drop-down to analyze them. In addition, if you click on Rollup and you choose Domain, now I can analyze any domain that has rankings for any of my keywords, not just the ones that I've loaded in the brand section. So now if I click on this drop-down menu, you're going to see there's hundreds of domains that I could analyze, not just my domain, not just the 15 competitors we loaded in. In this case, I clicked on searchenginejournal.com, can scroll down, and we can see how well they're ranking. If I sort this by rank, I could see, what they rank for number 1 and, what their best rankings are. So remember, play around with this roll-up drop-down And you can also look at subdomains and specific URLs. And keep in mind that's how you determine which domains rankings you want to see down below in the charts and tables. Next is this segment, excuse me, the segment dropdown. And this is where you can analyze things like, featured snippet, just desktop only. You can analyze, video. You can analyze lots of things, site links, and so on. We'll have other videos talking more in depth about segments, but if you ever have a question on what segment is, you can go back over to the settings, click on segments, and you can see the built-in segments are listed here, and it gives a short description of what it is. And anyway, we're gonna flesh out these descriptions to make it more obvious, but this is a good start, a place to look to see if you can understand what the segment is going to tell you. You can always reach out to us in this chat bubble over here on the right and ask us any questions you want or that you're confused about. So that's the segment drop down. And then there's this keyword group drop down where inside the settings area, you add all your keyword groups. Basically, you assign your keywords to groups so that you can filter by the group and only see data related to a specific keyword group. And so if I want to look at the keyword group for just our priority phrases, then I'd choose that keyword group there, and now I'm only seeing data for these 488 keywords instead of the default, which is all the keywords that are in our admin settings section. And I'm still looking at Search Engine Journal in this case, which is why we're seeing, how they rank for the keywords in this keyword group. But you can just change it back to whatever you want. If I just click on brand type, it defaults to owned, so then I can easily just see my rankings. So next, you can sort by any of these columns down here in this table, and as you saw me do earlier, you can sort by rank change, and any of these. Furthermore, up at the top, you'll see these same metrics, and with an info bubble explaining what the metric is. You can click on any of these metrics, and it loads the charts down below and shows you, in this case, this is Nozzle's rank, the average rank across all these 488 keywords over time. So the last, I guess I'm looking at just a 7-day period, and you can see how it's changed over time. You can change the date range right here. By default, when you log in, it's on the last 30 days. And so you can see that Nozzle is moving up in the rankings for this specific keyword group, which is good. And so we've moved from 39 rank to 35 rank for these 488 keywords. Also, you want to click on this Show Changes button. This is a good button to play around with a lot. It changes this chart now. It sets the first date to 0, and then now it's going to show us the rank change. So from the start date to the end date in this time period, we've moved up 4.58 an average rank. And also over here on the top right, you can change it from light mode to dark mode, depending on what your preference is. And this is a notification area. When you do an export, you'll see when it's done up in here. And then if you have any questions when you're using the tool, you can open up this help section, and there's lots of documentation and articles on how to do things, how to add keywords, how to add brands, what the different dashboards are. There's also, from this specific dashboard, we're on the performance overview dashboard. No matter what dashboard you're on, if you click on this learn more button, you'll see information specific to the dashboard you're on to explain things. Now, briefly, the performance overview dashboard, it's just an overview, as the name implies, and you'll see a snapshot of data that you'll find in the keyword groups dashboard, the segments, the URLs dashboard over here on the left, and then this table from the by keyword dashboard. And so this is just a great place to just analyze, kind of, well, look for any movements, big movements up or down, to give you a feel for if you need to go analyze, the segments dashboard to see what jumped up there or whatnot. Anyway, the next dashboard is the by keyword group. This dashboard is great because, as we talked about, you have all these keyword groups that you've entered in the keyword manager, and now you can see all of them in a chart here, and right now on the rank tab. And so I can just hover over this and see what the average rank is for every keyword group, or in this case the top 20, because by default it shows 20. So 20 in the table and also 20 in this chart. If you click on this drop-down menu, you can change it to 10, and now you'll see 10 in the chart, 10 in the table, 10 in the table. And again, I like to click on the Show Changes button, set all of them to 0, and over time, so now I can see which one have had the most movement in terms of ranking, in terms of CTR. So if I click on CTR now, I can see the keyword Cupid list has moved up the most in this time period, 1.4%. And if you ever see a bug like this, you can report it to us, and our dev team will get it fixed. So I'm going to report this one so that doesn't happen again. And again, click on any of these rank buttons here. Now we can see the check phrases group has improved by 14 keywords. So that means 14 more keywords are now in the top 100 than there were before, back at the beginning of this date range. And down here again, sort by rank, sort by keyword, change keywords, CTR, estimated traffic, whatever you need to, whatever you want to analyze the data. I like to sort by rank change and ascending and descending order to give me a quick idea of which keyword group I need to go analyze to see, the ones that have dropped the most, and also the ones to report on wins the most. Next dashboard. The by segment dashboard. Now the segments, again, these are like featured snippet, video, image, site links, and so on. And so now we're looking at all these different segments right here. And again, I like to click on Show Changes so that I can get a quick view of if there's been any big movements upwards. This will help me know what segment I need to pay attention to. For example, if I've been working on schema markup, trying to get our organic listings to include a price, rating, and review schema markup, then over time we have a price segment, for example, and if we started seeing Google adding our schema markup to our organic listings, you would see our price segment moving up tremendously. So it's a great way to report on your SEO efforts and the wins that you're getting. If you're getting more site links, if you're getting more schema markup, getting more FAQ schema, all of these are segments. So you can report if you're doing better or worse with those segments. So that's by segment dashboard. The by URL dashboard is where you can analyze specific URLs, obviously. And so now I'm going to see a list of our URLs, how many keywords rank, or how many keywords that URL ranks for in this case, for this priority phrases keyword group. So the homepage ranks for 265 keywords in the top 100, and features page 73. Looks like I'm sorted by estimated traffic change. gives me a good idea of how much my ranking improvements have uh, turned into potential organic traffic. And so up here, again, I like to click on the Show Changes button, get a feel for which ones are moving the most. I'm on the CTR tab here. I'm sorted by estimated traffic down here, but you can click and sort by anything. And so that gives you a good view of your URLs. You could also change this segment, for example, and show top 10 rankings on desktop. So now I'm going to analyze in this keyword group for Nozzle owned brand. I'm going to see which URLs contain the most top 10 rankings. So our homepage contains 38, the features page contains 14 for this keyword group. If I change this to say SEO jokes, this is another keyword group we made because we have a post about SEO jokes. As you can see, only 2 URLs contain rankings for the phrases in this keyword group. Our SEO jokes page has 7 keywords ranking in the top 10 because that's my segment, and this other blog post has 3 keywords ranking in the top 10. So again, mix and match different segments with keyword groups on different charts or dashboards on the left here to analyze the data and find important things that you need to know about and report on. The by keyword dashboard. So this is typically what you're used to in rank tracking tools. You got your keyword list and search volume and the top ranking URL, the rank changed in this time period. So again, August 9th to September 7th. And so now you can play around with things again like changes. Get a quick feel for which keywords moved up the most or down the most in this time period. So they all are at 0, and you can see ranking tool has moved up 10 positions in this last month. And then down below, I like to sort by estimated traffic change sometimes so I can see how much traffic I potentially am gaining with these ranking changes. And so those that have the best estimated traffic change are typically those that are in the top 5 or whatever, or close to that, because that's where you get traffic. And again, sometimes I sort by rank just to see what phrases are now in the top 10, or you can do things like sort by a segment and say show me all the keywords that are between 11 and 15. These are the low-hanging fruit or within striking distance of getting to page 1. So these are the phrases I want to focus on next within this specific keyword group. And so down in the table, you can see it's only showing me keywords that rank in this 11 through 15 and what the keyword is, and then I can obviously make some SEO strategy decisions about what to focus on. Up in the chart up above, it looks interesting. Basically, this means since I have this segment on between 11 and 15, if a keyword drops out of the 11 through 15, then that's why it just drops all the way to 101. The chart's basically saying any of these down drops or up movements are either up into this segment or down out of this segment. So that's the by keyword dashboard. And then you can always drill down into the individual keywords. So if you click on any of these keywords, it takes you to this single keyword dashboard here on the left. And as you can see, I have this SEO rank tracker keyword opened up. We can see by default it's on the rank, and you can see our rank over the last 30 days. And we're in the last few days we've hit number 5, and 30 days ago we were number 11. And you can again analyze the change in all these different metrics. And if we scroll down, actually before we scroll down, just I like to either click on last 90 days or last 365 days to just get a really feel for this important phrase. You know, analyze how our SEO efforts have been paying off or not been paying off in the last year for this phrase. So you can see we were, you know, in the 30s, bouncing around, all, you know, 20s, teens, even hit number 5 a couple days back in April, and then, you know, 10s and 8s. Anyway, as you can see, we're back up to 5 spot here. So good way to see the history of that phrase. If you scroll down, we'll talk about this table in a second, but if you scroll down, this is the SERP HTML. We re-render the HTML of the Google SERP that we looked at for your keyword when we crawled the data. And so this is not just a screenshot. I mean, you can do Control or Command F and like search for specific words on this page. You know, we can highlight things. Anyway, so you can see the SERP here, and if you scroll down, you'll see Nozzle's ranking right there, number 5. And by default, we overlay the metrics rank and pixels from top over every single result. This overlay of metrics is called Nozzle Vision. So you can disable Nozzle Vision and just look at the SERP without Nozzle Vision on. But why would you want to do that? Because Nozzle Vision is the coolest. And so you turn on Nozzle Vision and you can analyze different metrics. Like you click on this drop down here and you can choose, say, the clicks metrics, which is click-through rate, estimated traffic, and PPC value. And now you can see the click-through rate of all these different listings. You can play around with the pixels metrics, so pixels from top, above the fold percentage, SERP percentage, get a feel for those. You can actually add any metrics. So I'm going to turn off a couple of these here, and so if you click on this drop down here, you can, let's put rank back on, and then let's say FAQ, because the first listing has FAQ. You can say site links. I mean, whatever you want. You can video, feature snippet, whatever, and then you'll see those metrics overlaid on the top here, so we can see, these two questions are FAQ schema, and so that's why the green check mark is there for those two. Scroll down, and this listing here has site links, so the green check mark is highlighted for the site links, and so on. The other cool thing is you can analyze, you can compare SERP or different SERP HTMLs on different dates, and so let's just go back a couple months, and we're comparing two SERPs side by side. What I like to do is, you can play around with the zoom or the fit to screen, and I like to type in my URL, and what it does is it highlights only the results that meet that criteria. So you can see in the mini map here on the left, there's the green one. I click on it, it drops me down to the Nozzle ranking, rank number 10, and over here we are ranked number 5. So now I have a side-by-side showing a visual report of the SEO gains that we've had in the last 3 months, because I'm comparing July 23rd to September 4th, I believe. Yeah. You can open up as many of these as you want. Obviously, if you open up too many, it's going to be hard to see, but sometimes I do like to open up 4 or 5 and just show a month apart if I want to report on a specific win of a specific keyword. Just take a screenshot of this and put it in a report. Now, this table up above, this table lists everything that is a link down here in the SERP HTML, right? And so when you filter here, it also filters this table up above. So now we're only looking at the Nozzles ranking. So it's just a quick way to see, okay, we were 10 before, we're number 5 here on this date, and we're also 104, which means we have some sort of knowledge panel because we track the rankings also in the column 2. But if I take off this filter So now you'll see, Link Assistant was number 1, plus their FAQ is 1 and 1 as well. And Ahrefs is 2, Rank Tracker is number 3. We also list all their site links as 3. Anyway, so just a table output representation of the SERP down below to help you just get a different way of analyzing the data. If you ever click on this drop down and you realize, like, if you were only looking at the last 30 days up above, then there would only be 30 days here. And so, change the date range up here, like I did, to the last year or last 90 days. And then you'll have more dates you can go back to in the SERP HTML, all the way back to when you first started tracking data with Nozzle. The next and last dashboard is the share of voice dashboard. This one is really cool because you get to analyze the competition, and it's super important to remember this roll-up drop-down, especially on this dashboard. So right now I'm on the brand roll-up, and so remember we have 15 brands loaded in, and so now I'm seeing only those 15 brands, and I'm analyzing this keyword group priority phases, and I can see Moz has 481 rankings, Ahrefs has 473 rankings, and so I can get a quick view of who's doing the best for any specific keyword group I want to analyze. Furthermore, if I want to analyze not just the brands I've loaded in, but all the SERP competition, this is the power of Nozzle. We track the whole SERP. We have data for every single domain that has rankings in the top 100 for your phrases. And so now I'm seeing that a big list here. So if you scroll down to the bottom of the table, showing the top 20 domains that have the most rankings, because I'm sorted by number of keywords. In the top 100, because by default I have no segment on, so I'm looking at the top 100 results. So Moz has 481 rankings in the top 100, Authority Labs 385, Shout Me Loud's 369, and so on. Out of 2,945 domains, I could paginate through and look at all of the data, where my competition is doing, or how well they're doing, how well I'm doing against them or versus them. So, and so the next thing you do on the share of voice is, for example, if I want to see who has the most top 10 rankings, in this case, a filter top 10 rankings on desktop. I scroll down and I change the keyword group to SEO jokes phrases. So now you can see Pinterest has 13 top 10 rankings on desktop for this keyword group, Bright Edge 9, SEO Chatter 9, Nozzle 7. You can, again, click on any of these metrics. Right now I have show changes on. I can turn it off if I want to see this view here. Number of keywords, for example. You can look at the by rank group data. But anyway, I love this table view in the share of voice to see how I'm doing in the top 10 in this case for any of my keyword groups. And at the beginning of a campaign, in theory, you're going to be lower than everyone else. And then you can come back and report every month, every quarter, and show that you're moving up against your competition. You can even show which competition's moving down. So let's actually go to a keyword group with more phrases to give you a better view of that. So now I can see those who are, so I can see which domains have moved up in number of keywords in the top 10, those that are losing. So this one's lost 10 in the last month. You can go to page 2. Nozzle's on page 2 for this specific keyword group. So here we go. So we're 21, 22, 23. So we have 25 top 10 rankings for this keyword group. We've moved up 4 in the last month. Anyway, really good way to see who's improving, who's not, and how you're doing against the competition. Another use case for this is, I got the segment featured snippet, and I can see which domains contain the most featured snippets for this keyword group. So searchmetrics.com is 16, Dynamapper 14. You can drill down into this, each of these domains and see which keywords that they have the featured snippet for, which SERPs. And you can even drill down into individual keywords and then look at the SERP HTML and actually see the featured snippet if you really need to. Furthermore, not just we can show you not only the domain, how many are the domains that have the most featured snippets, but you click on this roll up drop down, click on URL, and now I can see the specific URL that has the most featured snippets across this keyword group, which gives me a really good idea of which URLs I should go to analyze if I'm trying to beat out this competition here. You know, this URL has 16 and this one has 12 featured snippets, and I know who I want to go and analyze first based off of this and try and beat out and go look at their page, see what they're doing, and obviously make some plans to you know, compete and take over those spots. Anyway, those are just some of the use cases for these dashboards. We have more videos coming out, and that are going to go into in depth on use cases, specific, like there's basically just, you know, specific use cases, more in depth on how to analyze, say, featured snippets or image packs or video packs or site links, you know, price schema markup or FAQ schema. Also, I want to mention that on this competitive dashboard, again, a great way to analyze the competition. If there's been a major Google update, Google algorithm update recently, you can come in here and just see in this chart here if there's, you know, which domains were affected negatively, which domains were affected positively, if it affected your industry that much at all. You know, if there's a lot of SEO talk about, oh, this is a huge deal, but then you come into your client's site or your own site and analyze that it didn't affect you much at all, then don't spend too much time researching that Google algorithm update. Anyway, so that's the walkthrough. Let us know when you have questions. Enjoy.